Electro Freeze Resurrection Project Part 2. So I got the unit installed, and now we're playing Can She Work? So the older versions of this are actually great for this reason. So you can drop the whole evaporator cover, right? So they brought the pumps to the front, which that's terrible. You can't reach it for anything. But on the newer style, they brought the pumps to the front and the evaporators on the back wall. So a totally different monster, where this is nice, right? 6 screws around the perimeter. We drop the whole evap. We unhook at the Molex connector. We pull the drain heater, drain line, and the whole thing's out. This switch reads open all the time, and we can see why. So the switch is blown out, completely not connected to anything. I've ordered some replacement parts that I know I'm going to need for this unit that still aren't here yet. It is November 2nd. I ordered them October 12th. So welcome to the world of delays. So, and we're not going to throw any more money at this unit in parts on stupid things like this unless we know the unit's going to function, which it definitely is. But for now, I'm just going to remove this button. I'm going to jump it out so it's always closed. And then, because I wasn't getting any evaporator fan, well, that feels terrible. But I think that's because it was interrupted, right? So let's just start with that so that the cabinet, we can confirm the cabinet is working, and I think we will. I think we'll confirm the cabinet's working. And then my next issue is this left pump side, because this pin, so this needs to spin freely. So take a look at this. Right, this is what has to happen. There's a gasket right here. It's just an O-ring. I'm not gonna be able to get it off without the tool, but there's an O-ring right here. There we go. So that needs to be taken off and lubed onto the pin so that it swings very freely, both sides. Because while this is closed on the pump, it's pulled shut, and then every time the pump spins and forces milk through it, it pulses ever so slightly. Whoom, 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 whoom. And then it recloses. It pulses and then it recloses. If it doesn't reclose proper, then the pressure runs backwards and it blows out. So in this case, if you look really close, I thought it was just bad, needed to be lubed, but the reality is I can't get it off. The whole pin, look at the pin. The whole pin is spinning. So, and the fact that it does this is a huge problem, because it's never going to seal right. So you're never going to pressurize and function properly. Something as dumb as this literally could have caused a technician to be like, I don't know, it works. Like, it should work. I don't know why it's not working yet. It never pressurizes right. It's always blowing out its duck bills. You know, if you don't catch that, you know, I'm hoping, because the refrigeration system is still holding its charge, or holding a charge, right? I don't know how much, but there's still a charge in that. So we're, you know, in theory, we could be close to running once I get the pump straightened out. I've got to see this whole pump assembly pulls out, but these bolts are monsters. I've tried getting these kind of things out before and it doesn't really go. So I'm going to see when we drop these four bolts, we should be able to pull the whole assembly out, get to the back of this, and then see what we're working with. All right, so I cannot possibly explain the amount of agony it took to pull that off. It was every leverage game in the book to pry that thing off of there, and I had penetrant on it, anything to get it loosened up. But so here's the right side one, slides right on. So it's the pin not the swing arm. That's no good. Let's see, this is the bad arm. Yeah, so it's actually also the swing arm. So the arm and the pin have made a bad marriage where neither one will work with anything else. So we may end up abandoning ship again because I don't have the means to replace this without getting my parts from Electro Freeze. So we may shift to... I was trying to work the left circuit because I believe its refrigeration circuit is best intact. The right circuit, I don't know. It was empty. It was sitting at atmosphere for a long time. I may have problems with the refrigeration side of this, so I was trying to get the left side up and running for them. But I mean, the left pump is now not gonna happen, period. So, let me get things cleared up to work the right side. See what we can do. All right, as you're tightening the swing arm, right, so this is nice and tight on there. It's actually gonna stop when it runs out of threads. So how can you tell if you need a new spring or not if you're at enough tension? Shouldn't be able to do that. It should lock in tight. Like, it should be so tight that you've got to back it way off. So these springs aren't pushing tight enough either. Lots of stupid little things. But, I mean, that isn't, again, that's enough. If this isn't being pulled up tight, then you're not going to seal, you're not going to pressurize, you're not going to hold pressure. And you're not going to work. I show this in so many videos, but here's the big finale. This is a ruined one. Look at the groove. So this is a new one. This rubber ring sits there and it just spins and spins and spins and spins. The manufacturer says every few days this has to be taken apart, cleaned and lubricated. Well, stores go weeks without taking them apart. Rubber beats aluminum. This doesn't seal anymore, which is why in this barrel you've got milk everywhere over there. It's not from a bad beater seal, it's from a ruined beater. Now I do have a trick. The problem is if we put this here, I'm not going to lube it up right now, but hang on, let me turn this off. Put this on here. Stand by. Alright. So if I put this on here, it's supposed to go all the way in when we push it in. But when it spins, it's instantly going to find its groove. And once it's in that groove, this wobble shows that you're going to have trouble because it's not sealed up in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a secondary O-ring right here to seal off around the leaking point of this, and the double gaskets will save the day. It'll buy us some time. This beater needs to be replaced. Alright, so there's the finished product. Now, as this lives in its groove, we're also sealed here. And then I always put, and I don't show this, I mean, I always put overkill amount of lube in there. Because if this doesn't seal up properly and you put it all together, God bless this kind of machine. This is normally what we deal with. You have to take the whole thing apart, and you don't find out it's leaking until it's all primed up. So what I do love about this older style machine is if their left barrel goes down in the middle of the day and I got to come here and service it, I can isolate and pull this apart and just deal with the left barrel. Or on those, you got to pull the whole machine down. So, all right, well, double O-ring. Let's check it out. Here's why this double O-ring is a temporary fix. Let me see if I can drop this and show you the difference. no. Oh no, we're overflowing. Apparently we have a stopped up drain. Yeah, there's a strainer inside full of stuff, which is good until that happens. Okay, squirrel. As I was saying, let me show you why the double O-ring needs to be a temporary fix. See how far this is seated in there? Alright, so this pushes back and sits, let's do pinky, let's figure out, alright, ring finger to the bed of my nail. Because this has an extra O-ring to seal it up, I've got to really push it in hard. And it wants to bounce back to half that distance. So what's going to happen is we're going to put extra tension on the beater motor. The beater motor is going to be working slightly harder. So that shaft is like $1,000, but the beater motor is another $700. Just replaced one of those somewhere else. So pick your poison, right? I cannot replace this and run that beater motor for a year, beating it down until it gives out, and then have to replace it and this. So I wouldn't do this if it was going to cause imminent damage. It's not. It's going to run fine, but it is going to work harder, that motor, than it needs to. And that's not mechanical best practice. All right, so as previously mentioned, when we put this in clean mode, the pump should not run without the cover on it. It does. So somebody's jumped that out. But that is what it is. Also, hang on. There's water leaking, but I can see it from here. Yeah. So directionally we're staying correct, which is drawing it in and up. If I pull the air bleed, do we hear? Yep, it's pressurizing. So I'm going to open that. I'm going to let it pressurize. I'm going to slide this buddy over. See if she's leaking on the inside. Now that it's leaking out here, I'm going to close that. And now we're really going to build the pressure. So now she's sealed up. We're going to wait for the pump to satisfy, which will put us at about 35 psi. And you can hear the sound changes as it comes under pressure. Okay, so pressure switch is good. She shut off. Let's take an immediate look here. No water running. Well, let's see what happens when we tell the beater to spin. Beater's spinning. Let's take a look. Get the light up. I don't see any water coming. So the double seal for now is holding up. So I just ran water into it, so I'm going to run sanitizer now. Now let's go back in time and talk about not having these pressure switches sealed up. This is going to sweat. Moisture's going to get into that. So since I believe the pressure switch is working properly, I'm going to seal that up while I'm here doing this process. But, all right, sanitizer. Sometimes it's the stupidest little stuff that's the most aggravating. The door still reads open. I have it completely jumped. So that door should read closed. Let me go back, chase the wiring and see what's up. Something's unhooked somewhere. We know the switch was busted, but I mean, I jumped it out. That should have been the end of that. Look, I don't edit things out. I feel like when I make mistakes, it's an opportunity to save someone else from making the same mistakes. So this is what I meant by I jumped out the switch, and we should have been good to go. But I was on a phone call while I was putting this back together, which is why I didn't film this before. And in my distraction, hey, look. Now, technician menu, diagnostic mode, door closed, user error. Also, cabinet evap fan, let's see. Hey, she works. All right. So, hopefully we have a working cabinet. We have a working pump system. We get this refrigeration system in line. We've got a barrel. The reason we're not gonna have two immediately is one, that swing pin I'm dealing with. Two, it's missing a bleed valve, an air bleed valve. And who loses bleed valves? So I don't stock those. I have the little gaskets that go on them, but not the physical valve itself. I've got some Taylor ice cream ones, but they're not gonna fit. Yeah, so let's get sanitizer in this guy. See if she rolls. I do so love this, right? Do not remove cylinder from box. So do they sell bottle racks to store Freon in boxes, or are they all round? Like, stop trying to pretend that this is what's going to happen, or start selling square bottle racks. Duh. All right, are we ready to play? We'll put the right side in freeze. Heater's running, compressor's running. Evaporator says the cabinet's running. Pressure's in sight glass. Sight glass is clear. We are running 25, 22 suction. It's a little low. We're gonna let it run. Again, so far so good on the milk holding in the barrel. Why did the beater just shut down? Interesting. Well, your beater just locked up. I'm not going to believe for a second it's because it's satisfied. 15 degrees. Yeah, okay, it's 15 degrees, but you're not ice cream yet. 2 cones left. Oh, I didn't put the mix out sensor in there, but I don't care. It should still be operating. Freezer's running, beater's running. I need to pull an amp draw on this beater. I'm gonna pull this out, hook up to it, see what's happening to her electrically. I feel it. Not physically hot. I heard the contactor shut off, so it actually shut off on control. Compressor is also off. I can feel super hot leaving, liquid cool coming back. So my condenser up top is working fine. That's another thing that's helpful is to bring this into user operator menu, basic settings, nope, screen settings, show cabinet temp, show compressor, yes, change that to yes, because what that's gonna do, flash mix low, let's turn that off for a moment. Well, here I am screwing up. You guys are just catching all the screw ups today. Yes on that. Let's go down to mix low. I don't want to see that right now. Celsius. Okay, we exit. Now, when it's freezing and it pulls in, that's going to light up. So it's freezing. Actual temps, I mean, we're rolling. If that beater is properly scraping, we should definitely be getting ice cream. So they generally drop down to somewhere between 2 and 4 below and then cut out. Yep, so there you go. She just cut out at 4 below. Beater's still running, which is good. I may need to set, so the beater just dropped out, which I don't like at all. I want that beater to run longer. Which is just a setting on the technician side of things. And let's see, she's gonna drop, pull up. The default is normally 17, so at 17 degrees. But see, the beater's not running. I feel like that beater's got to run. So, let's wait for it to kick in. Actual temps, 17. Okay, so it is going to cycle on at 17 and off. I got to get in here and find where the beater settings are. And also I want to see is the cabinet pulling down, which is this sight glass over here. Looks almost dead out. Look at it. Yeah. So we got to deal with the cabinet pressures. So let me grab the 134. And there's a lot more science into this than you know. Let's fill this cup. Overfill it. Oh, it's looking good. Looking good! What we do is we test overrun. We do that by taking this cup, clearing it like that. We're zeroed out. You want it to be 6.5 to 6 3/4 ounces. Holy smoke, 6.5, spot on, perfect overrun. Overrun means the amount of air mixed with the ice cream. So if you have too much air, then it's super marshmallowy and fluffy, and if you have not enough, it's heavy and dense. Perfect. All right, now we're throwing a cab temp alarm because our cabinet, as we knew, was not cooling because it was low on Freon. I just gassed it up, R134. Takes a pound of gas. Again, with these little systems, just pull it out and weigh in your pound. Don't mess with it. It's so easy to overcharge these things. So now if we hit actual temps while the cabinet's running, we should see in pretty short order this start to drop. We'll find out. 37-degree cabinet. Ice cream the way it should be. Right side rolling.